and we'll see how it's doing. So I made an appointment. I made a definite appointment, so I came back late, so that would after work, so I wouldn't be taking time off work. And I came back, and he wasn't there. I said, well, I need some more bandages and stuff. And they said, well, you can't get them. You can't get them because unless you see the doctor that's there. Well, I didn't want to see that doctor. I didn't like his manner. All I said, just give me some bandages and some of that ointment, and I will just change the bandages myself, and I'll come back. And I made another appointment for Dr. Proctor. But they refused to give me bandages. This is Cassandra. You're wonderful, stupid Cassandra. Anyhow, so I made another appointment with Dr. Proctor, and I went to the drugstore and I bought bandages and 3-in-1 ointments and everything else. And I changed the bandage, and I went back again to see Dr. Proctor. He wasn't there. And I made another appointment. 5 times I made an appointment. 5 times I showed up. 5 times he wasn't there. What kind of a place is this? And they finally said, who do you think you are? You think Dr. Proctor is strictly your doctor? He said, what's the matter with you? I said, then why make an appointment for me to be with Dr. Proctor if he's not going to be here? So I went home, and my wife, we opened it up, and she took a hot knife and dug out that center part, which needed to come out. And that center part was as big around as my nail. As a result, now we filled it full with antibiotics, and it started to heal, and it healed within a couple of weeks. What a place this Cassandra is. It doesn't have it shouldn't even be open. And then the audacity, what got me even more angry, is when I put in a claim for this. They had the audacity to say that I never showed up for those appointments. They are liars, every single one of them. Every single one of them. And they should not even be opened. And I hope this tape goes all over the world and they talk about this Cassandra. You should not even have anything to do with them or their nurses. Any rate, after that had healed, then in March, you know, those racks that are hanging off of water pipes. One day, I was racking up some parts, and the guy, evidently, somebody was coming in through for an inspection. And just as he was coming through the door, he says, he said, you're not going to find anything hanging on our water pipes. And he opened the door, and he said, oops, no, they're busy in here. We're not allowed to go in here. He said, I made a mistake here. And he closed the door, and away he went. So, this is illegal to even have these things hanging all on water pipes. And I have pictures of them, every single one of them. And so, while I was cleaning out one of the vats, this was in March, I'm cleaning it out with this pen and whatnot, and one of the poles that I'm going and plunging the vat with hits one of the titanium racks and hit me on the head, and I had 4 big scratches right down on my head. Now, I never went to the doctor with this, but I made a work report on it. I didn't want to go back to the doctor. Everybody told me to go back to the doctor. I ran, when that hurt, blooding was all over my head. I ran back to Jeff McFarland's office, and there was standing Phil, Eric, and Jeff. And I went to grab a soft towel to put on my head to blot the blood. And he said, no, use a rough towel. So I grabbed some alcohol and just poured it on my head so it would, I heard the pain at least, so something would be immediately taken care of. Immediately. And then I went back. They just 3 stood there. Nobody tried to help me. Not one person. And I went back through the plating department, and finally Sean, God bless him, he grabbed some gauze, and he wrapped gauze around my head and put a pad on there. And then Eric, finally came around to the apartment, was cleaning up all the blood that was in that area. Now, I never made a picture of it. I should have. I never made a report as far as a doctor's report or a workman's comp report, but I did make an official report at your place. But I didn't want to go to another doctor from Cassandra, where they treat you so ill, where they treat you so badly. Anyhow, that fell on my head, and I wore a baseball cap, in order so no more dirt would get into it, and it finally healed. Everybody there, the workers I'm talking about, said that I should go and see the doctor because it was bad. Except none of your bosses. Phil didn't tell me to go. Eric didn't tell me to go. Jeff didn't tell me to go. They were happy that I didn't. Wrong. Then, while racking, I already told you about the inspection. And the rack shouldn't even be hanging from water pipes. And even Jeff filled out the report that the reason this happened was because the water pipes, the racks should not even be hanging from the water pipes, and that's how we can correct the situation. All right. That was in March. All right. Then everything went smooth until August. Then what happened in August, you see, around summertime, we had wonderful aprons. The aprons covered us, our entire body. They were heavy, clear down to our feet. Wonderful. They wrapped around our body. They were heavy and they were strong. They were marvelous. I never had a problem. The only thing I had daily was acid burns up and down my arm until I asked Phil if I could make a sleeve that would go over there, if I could do that, and that maybe protect my arms from the splashing of the acid burns that I got every day. Every day I came home, my wife and my friends say, "You look like I was coming home from the war." Anyhow, so I asked Phil if it would be all right. He said, "What do you mean?" "Yes, of course." He said, "Why, we've got boxes of them here." "You mean all this time I've had these burns on my arms and you've had plastic sleeves here that I could have put over them and protected my arm? All this time?" "Well, I guess it's Well, anyway, enough said. Anyhow, in August, you changed your apron. And what happened in August was the fact that you replaced it with a thin apron that didn't even hardly come down. Here I am, I'm the average height. I'm 5'10". And it came down not even to the top of my boots. And it was so flimsy and lightweight, like a woman's dress, silk dress, and the fans blowing all over the place. I didn't know what was happening when I was carrying passivation from my room clear up into the center of where the iron was being done, and the gold line was. And putting in the passivation, I was carrying them out here, putting them in there, carrying them back to the dryers, etc., etc. And the wind, unbeknown to me, I was blowing my apron, and of course it's dripping because it's not completely free from dripping, and evidently was dripping onto my trousers. And of course my trousers being loose, I'm not feeling it until it hits my hand, my leg, and then comes back. And then later on in the day, when I started going home, I figured my legs were starting to burn, and I couldn't figure out how was my legs getting burned. So I put on a different pair of trousers. I tried to take attention, and I couldn't figure out how were my legs getting burned. And then I put on a brand new pair of trousers, never been worn before. And I went slow and watched what was happening. And as I was walking, the wind was blowing my apron away from my trousers. My acid passivation liquid was going onto my trousers, and they were in turn burning my legs. And they burnt my legs badly, up to my knees, down to my legs, back, side. It was the most painful thing that I had took months for it to get over with.